but I want to go right to the basketball talk. We got a jam-packed show today, and who better to bring it up with than Keith Pompey. Keith Pompey, a lot has changed since we last talked to you like a month ago. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
I cannot complain. Jeff raised a lot of money to help homeless kids last night. We're doing some good stuff here, and the Sixers have a completely different look than when we last talked to you. They got Daryl Morey in charge. They got a new coach. They made a lot of changes the other day. Can you catch me up on everything that's going on here?
Oh man, you do you have that much time? You only
No.
playing? No, he said no. I mean, of course, like just to give you the Cliff Notes version. What they did is they traded out Al Horford. They got from underneath his contract, and in exchange they got a shooter, and Danny Green. I'm about to say Danny Granger, Danny Green for him, right? Good shooter. And then they traded Josh Richardson, and then they got another good shooter, Seth Curry. I had to say that slow because I keep saying Steph Curry, but it's his younger brother Seth. And then they picked up a guy by the name of Tyrese Maxey with the 21st pick, a guy that they were excited about because they felt like he slipped to them. And then in the second round, they got another shooter, one who they've been targeting for a while, and his name is Isaiah Joe from Arkansas. He's one of the top 3-point shooters in NCAA. And then they got a guy by the name of Paul Reed, who's like a 6'9" power forward / center. So what they did is they basically have shooters to go around Ben Simmons and Joel, and then they got a nice little slasher, a scoring point guard. So and then they got another body at the 5. So they're extremely excited about that.
All right. So Keith, I actually was thinking about playing back your last appearance, and because the last time that you were on, we were all sitting here going, the sky is falling. There's nothing that they can do. And in that period of time, Daryl Morey comes in here and somehow they unload the unloadable contract. What did Daryl Morey do? How was he able to pull this off to get rid of Al Horford's contract and get value of the kind of guys they needed in return?
I think a lot of it had to do with I'm not going to say lucky. I'm not going to call him lucky at all. He's not lucky. But what it was is, you look at Oklahoma City Thunder is a team that's collecting first round picks. The Sixers had a future first round pick, and they had a second rounder. And Oklahoma City Thunder, what they're doing is they're collecting players that teams don't want right now, and their teams are giving them draft picks to take those players. And what they're doing is they're flipping them. And you can look at it as if with Danny Green, and then there was a player yesterday today or yesterday, his name escapes me right now, but his name escapes me. But they took and acquired him from Phoenix, and then they took in for a couple of draft picks to get him, and then they took and traded him to the Clippers. I mean, to the and I played him to Golden State to get another draft.
We'll get him back.
I think the Sixers had something to do with it.
You think so?
Yeah, I think once he said lucky, I don't know. I want that kind of luck, by the way.
You don't hear me?
So where were we? Because I've been having some technical difficulties over here. What was Keith saying, Jeff? Bring it back.
Well, he was going through the way that these trades went, but I'm really impressed at how these trades went off. I mean, look, if you thought they were going to get rid of Al Horford, you were in the vast minority of people. So I don't know how they were able to pull that off and get Green in return. So it's pretty impressive that they're able to do that. But to me, I think that getting Seth Curry was the bigger steal. He's a guy who fits into shooting and fits into the role that moves people back to the place, except for Embiid, that they want to be. Ben Simmons wants to be a point guard. We want him to be a power forward. But the fact is, he wants to continue to be a point guard. He can now do that, right? Because now you have a situation where you have a potential starting 5 of Simmons at the point, Curry playing the shooting guard. You have Green that can play small forward. You move Tobias to power forward. And then you have Embiid if he's willing to play back to the basket. The only person, the one I'm worried about is Embiid. because it's clear he doesn't want to play back to the basket. But now you have everybody that can be in the traditional basketball roles, and he has to buy in. If he doesn't buy in, you're going to have him sulking.
Well, that was my question. Is he going to buy in? What's going to happen there in terms of how this fits? I mean, they definitely have a different look and feel right now. If you just go over the roster right now, what they've turned over, we'll try and get Keith back on. Had some little technical difficulties there, but at the same time, they got rid of Norvell Pell and Mariel Shayok. They waived them. Did anything surprise you about that?
I was a
Jeff?
little surprised. I don't know if it's because they got these 3 draft picks that they plan on making them two-way players, because you can only have a certain number of two-way players on the team.
Hey, Keith,
So
we have you back.
Yeah, I'm back.
We'll put you back up in a second when we get you. You can only have a certain amount of two-way players.
right. So if they're concerned that they can't have Shyok, and I mean Pell, I don't think would have been on a two-way deal because he signed the deal last year. So if they don't have room for Shyok because they're considering that they have these 3 guys, and you mentioned that they got another guy, this guy from Dakota,
Yeah.
or this guy Dakota Mathias from the Texas Legends, who I don't know anything about.
So apparently he's 25 years old, played for the Mavs G League team last year, averaged 18 points a game, 3.1 assists per game, shot almost 40% on 8.9 3-pointers a game. I think we have Keith back in. I know he can hear us. Keith, can we hear you?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We got you. We got you. It's the Sixers gremlins again. We were talking about them and they dropped you off.
Yeah.
So Keith, let me ask you, now that we have Seth Curry and we have Danny Green, assuming these trades go through and are finalized with no hitches, unlike what Sacramento's deal, is everybody now happy? And when I say that, are Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid happy with what they did and where they're going to be next year?
I mean, everyone's happy initially. I mean, after this, because you look back at it and you say to yourself, this is going to be a 2017-18 season all over again, where we have a bunch of shooters. But again, it's one of those things. I think is their happiness is going to be, once they play games. Because let's keep it real. I mean, everyone was happy last year at this time, or in the beginning of the season of last year, because they thought that they were going to play bully ball and do all these different things, and it just didn't work out. So I'm gonna say that they are happy right now, but we just have to see how it all works out. I think it's going to work out well, but we just have to see.
Jeff and I were talking when you dropped off about the Sixers waiving Norvell Pell and Mariel Shayok. I know I had seen your writing that Pell had a non-guaranteed contract that would have turned guaranteed for $1.5 million if it would have kept on the team. They also then signed Dakota Mathias, who played with the Mavs G League team. What are they going to do in terms of the other two-way player? One of the players they drafted going to take that spot, do you think?
It could be. It depends on what type of deal he does. Like, I think that Daryl Morey was talking about, signing Paul Reed to like a nice long extension. Because I think when you get a two-way deal, it's a 1-year deal, right? So then after that, you have to lock the person up. So I think for their flexibility, what they can do is you can sign a guy to the roster to a nice long deal, and then you just assign him to the G League team whenever you want to, and then if he's a good player, it's one of those things where you have his rights, and you have him for a long time. So I don't know if that's what they're going to do with that. And, the same thing with him and Isaiah Joe. So I don't know if that's an option, because if, it just seems like, he wants optionality, and that's one of those things that Sam Hinkie did, where he would get these guys, even if they were, let's just say, T.J. McConnell, an undrafted guy. He locked them up for like 5 years, and they had these deals where they didn't make a lot of money, but they were non-guarantees. But at the same time, these were guys who didn't get a lot of offers from other people, and they were excited, and they signed it.
So because of this, we have this condensed schedule. We had the draft, trade season started, and now here comes free agency. Are the Sixers done? Or are they going to go? Are they diving into free agency? And how much money do they have?
They don't have a lot of money with free agency, too. I mean, now again, they have like a mid-level exception that they can offer, and that would be for like $5.7 million a year. Now, some teams, what they do is they could try to split it up. You know what I mean? Split it in half. But for the most part, I mean, that's the best thing that they have to offer now. What they could do is they can go to a team and they can do a sign and trade where the team will pay that player, will sign that player to a lucrative deal, and then they can trade them to the 76ers. They could do that. But outside of that, you're basically going to be getting guys on minimum salary deals. So when everyone is thinking like, oh, well, let's go after this guy and that guy, well, if it's a bidding war, then you're going to lose that bidding war. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, Daryl Morey, like you said before, when I was cut off, that hey, we said that Daryl Morey couldn't get from underneath Al Horford's contract. I'm not going to say that again. So let's see what he can do. but I'm just here to tell you, it's not going to be like last year where they were just throwing money at people.
No, I totally get it. Names you hear are, Ersan Ilyasova got cut by the Bucks, which are having their own issues with their trade that seems to have fallen through. You hear names like Nerlens Noel. It seems like we're looking more at like a role player to fill because we have the big names that are going to be out there on the court, and it's just going to be on Doc to kind of put the pieces together. Is that what your feel is?
Yeah, that's all it's going to. I mean, right now you're looking to fill out your roster. I mean, if you think about it, so last year they had 5 guys on minimum salaries, and they signed them to like 1-year deals, right? I'm talking about like Raul Neto, Kyle O'Quinn, etc. That's what these are the type of players they're looking for now. In the free agency thing. Now, they could possibly, you never say never. Even though everyone says to you, hey, we're not making any more trades, we're happy. Well, you don't believe them until you come to the trade deadline. You know what I mean? Because things could change, like overnight or within a matter of seconds. So, it's one of those things, like they can always go out there and trade for a guy, but at the same time, when we're talking about the free agent money, like these guys that they're going to get are basically guys for the minimum. Now, don't get me wrong, that does not mean you can't get quality, but again, if you're a guy and you can come to here for the minimum, but you can get like a little bit more somewhere else, you're going to go somewhere else and get a little bit more.
Okay, so Keith Pompey, you can listen to him on his podcast. Where can they listen to you?
You guys can listen to me on Locked On 76ers. You can subscribe to that podcast anywhere that you subscribe to podcasts at.
And that's the, trust me, if you want to get information on the Sixers and the NBA, that's the podcast to get. But in addition to that, we got you on the Philadelphia Inquirer. And how busy are Keith Pompey's fingers going to be for the next month?
Come on, man, I'm tired now.
Well,
it's gonna be crazy, man. It really is. It's weird because I got so used to being at home and not really doing anything, and now it's starting to rev up, and I'm saying, whoa, is this happening? Is that happening? It's just crazy. Like, believe it or not, it's weird. This is a weird time for everyone because we all go from, most people go from not doing anything to now you got to play catch up, and everything is in like warp speed, and that's just how it is with the NBA right about now. So it is what it is, but hey, it's a job, right?
We encourage everybody to read you in the Inquirer, follow you on Twitter at Pompey on Sixers, catch you on the Locked On Sixers podcast, or when you join us. We always appreciate the time, Keith. Get a little rest. You're going to need it, and we'll talk to you soon, man.
Yeah, I'm just going to enjoy my Giants when they win the NFC East.
Oh.
By the way, without even going.
By the way, Keith has the best Michael Jordan memes having to do with the Eagles. He has mastered those.
Even as an Eagles fan, your memes make me laugh, Keith. It's painful, but they make me laugh.
Y'all know I just do fun-loving trash talk. That's all.
He has mastered that too.
We'll have you back to talk some more trash. Thanks so much for the time, Keith.
All right, fellas. Bye.